There have been many reports of alien bodies being discovered on this planet, the most commonly known story being that of Roswell, New Mexico. We have watched as Dr. Stephen Greer had the body of a Chilean mummified corpse analysed to see if it was extraterrestrial, and the infamous alien autopsy videos that can be found on the internet. One discovery of alien bodies that may well be more credible, this down to the evidence discovered alongside the bodies, is the Dropa alien bodies and the Dropa Stones. Welcome to IF, videos on mystery and history. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to never miss a video again. So who or what are these mysterious beings known as the Dropa? They can be found to this very day living in isolation, but these people are not aliens or descendants of aliens, but a tribe that anthropologists say do not fit in with the Chinese or Tibetan lineage. Members of the Dropa tribe are what would be considered pygmy size, the adult's height measuring somewhere between 3'6" and 4'7", average height of a tribe member being around 4'2". They are very slight in their build, weighing in at 38 to 52 pounds. With thin bodies and disproportionately large heads. The skin is off-white, edging toward a shade of yellow, with very little body hair and with large eyes that are not Asian in appearance, but have pale blue irises. This description has many of the same characteristics as skeletal remains found in caves of the area in 1938. These remains being part of this people's legends and folklore. They tell stories of a crashed UFO and lost alien occupants. The ancient story says how a small slender yellow-skinned people fell to earth from the heavens. They were shunned by the local population due to their ugliness. The legend goes on to tell of how a space probe from far and distant planet crash-landed in the Baian-Kara-Ula mountains of the Himalayas. The aliens who piloted the spacecraft, the Dropa, probably scared, hid in the caves of the mountains. The Dropa was said to be peaceful in nature. This didn't protect them from being misunderstood by members of the local Ham tribe, who called nearby caves home. They hunted down these stranded aliens and killed a few of them. There is some hard evidence that gives credit to this story. Several ancient, neatly arranged burial sites. These graves containing the skeletal remains of several small, frail and spindly people with disproportionately large skulls. In what seems like a desperate attempt to explain the possible remains of ET beings, a team who explored the cave suggested that the remains may be that of an unknown species of mountain gorilla. Professor Chipo Te is reported to have responded, "Who ever heard of apes burying one another?" Agreed, Professor Te. More proof comes in the controversial artifacts known as the Dropa Stones or Dropa discs. These carved stone discs became more notorious when a story emerged which claimed that in 1938 an archaeological expedition led by Professor Chipo Te explored the mountains. This was to survey a series of interlinking caves that border China and Tibet. This is when the team found the cave and discovered the several small bodies along with 700 small round stone discs. These stone discs said to document an alien crash landing on Earth some 10,000 years ago. The caves themselves are said to have been artificially carved and resembles an underground complex more than a natural cave system. This because of what looked like a system of organized tunnels and underground storerooms. The walls of the caves or tunnels being squared and glazed, suggesting that they were carved into the mountain using some source of extreme heat. These glazed walls also displayed a large collection of petroglyphs and pictograms, these showing complex star maps and celestial bodies that were most likely unknown to peoples of that area at that time. And in the dirt, half buried in the floor of the cave, was a stone disc, something made by intelligent hands. The disc was approximately 9 inches in diameter and 3/4 of an inch thick. In the exact center was a perfectly round 3/4 inch hole, and etched into its face was a fine groove spiraling out from the center to the rim. The grooves were found to contain almost microscopic hieroglyphs. A further 716 such discs were retrieved from the cave. These artifacts were then placed into storage for the next 20 years. Beijing University holding these discs in secret until 1962, when a Chinese scientist called Dr. Sum Umnoi stumbled upon them whilst he was working for the prehistory department of Beijing Academy. He studied the discs and is said to have deciphered the inscriptions and successfully translated the text from the discs. The Chinese censorship machine went into overdrive after reading the paper written by the professor when he presented his discovery to the university before its publication. The Academy of Prehistory expressly forbade him from publishing or even speaking of his findings for the next 2 years. It was hidden until he bravely published the paper himself. Dr. Sum Umnoi's translation was ridiculed. Then, in 1968, the Dropa Stones caught the eye of a W. Setswal, a Russian scientist. He republished the findings of the professor and carried out tests on the discs. These revealed more peculiar properties. Cobalt and other metals were contained in high concentrations inside the granite of the stone. Granite, being a very hard stone, would have made it almost impossible for the primitive people to carve the lettering, let alone make characters that are so tiny. An oscillograph was used to test the discs. A surprising rhythm was discovered, the scientists saying this made them believe the discs had once been electrically charged or had functioned as electrical conductors. So what message did these alien castaways leave? The professor's translation of one of the passages says, "The Dropa came down from the clouds in their aircraft. Our men, women and children hid in the caves 10 times before sunrise. When at last they understood the sign language of the Dropa, they realized that the newcomers had peaceful intentions." The stones go on to say how the Dropa were unable to repair their disabled spacecraft and could not return to their home planet, and so were stranded on Earth. Is this proof that ET first landed in ancient China? Are these stones an elaborate hoax? What could explain the remains found in the cave and the different appearance of the Dropa and the legends that they are descended from star beings? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy what we do here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, like and share. You can find us across social media by searching We Are If. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.